Hello,
Oh,
everybody. Welcome to the Hangout, the Social Cafe Hangout. And welcome, Gail.
hi.
Nothing like cutting you off to say welcome. Hey, I'm so excited talking about all these images because, like, you are the hands down pro on images, in my opinion.
Images, yes. Facebook, not so much.
I'm trying to remember, are you a Facebook lover or a not so much Facebook lover? I know Da Vinci doesn't
Oh,
care for
I
Facebook.
never liked it. I really get Twitter and Pinterest and even Google Plus communities, but Facebook just never did it for me, except that I do like groups there. And so one of the reasons I love images there is I'm in a group called the Draft Horse Friends, and they share the coolest photos.
Okay,
Like
wait, draft horse as in like,
Yeah, as in draft horse, like pulls a plow type horse.
oh, okay, all right.
They have all these really cool photos. Like there's a girl that posts videos and photos of her Roman riding 3 draft horses. You know what Roman riding is?
No, I think you need to teach me.
Okay, Roman riding is where you have your foot on the back of one horse and your other foot on the back of another horse, which is
Ooh.
difficult enough. You're standing up, right, with one foot on each horse, which is difficult enough on a normal size horse, but on a draft horse, you know, that your legs would have to be a lot further apart.
Uh-huh.
And so she's standing on one horse and driving like 3 or 4 horses at a time, like having long reins, standing on one horse. Yeah, I see your eyes. You should see
Oh
the.
my.
And so they have videos of that, and then like there's one person that like has pictures of a baby horse waking up in the morning that says "Good morning, everyone," or a picture of the foal laying down at night, "Good night, everyone," you know, or just people post funny photos of horses flipping their nose back, you know, popping
Mm-hmm.
their lips, and it's just funny. There's a beautiful photos of all kinds of horses internationally around the world. And so I love the photos there, and sometimes they're just so cool. I share them out of the group, and
Are
of course
people allowed to see them? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. I was like, okay, where are these photos? Is this like a closed group, or can people publicly
it's
view
a
them?
closed group, but most of the people, like if they have a video on YouTube, obviously they don't care if you share it
Mm-hmm.
publicly because it's already public, right? And a lot of them, you know, they won't mind if you share that. So I have that, and then I'm in gardening groups, and so like there's lots of photos of what's growing right now, and this what you picked today, that kind of thing. It's kind of cool.
That's really
And
great. You know, when you're talking about horses, I wouldn't think that there would be so many different. Okay, that's how limited my brain is, but I wouldn't think there'd be like that many pictures of horses that there'd be a group. That's fascinating.
well, I'm going to pull it up because what's really fascinating is how big this group is and how fast it's growing. And if Facebook to me is the most confusing site because you go there and what you see is different depending on what page you're on, and it's hard to
Mm-hmm.
decide what you're posting to who, and it's just very confusing. So there's a draft horse sale group, the draft horse friends group. I'm trying to see. They used to have there's 21,137 members.
How many?
21,137 members.
Oh
And
wow.
so, and they change the header image all the time. So right now it's got a guy mowing hay with a 4 chestnut horses. And the next picture is the guy that started the group doing some round pen work with a young draft horse. And, you know, there's all this, like we share images of tractor equipment. It's just really cool. If you're the number one thing to remember is what will be popular wherever you are is what the people are into. So if you're into horses and you're in a horse group, share horse stuff.
That
But if
makes
you're
sense.
into gardening and you're in a gardening group, share gardening stuff.
You had to be speechless because, like, that is so fascinating. I don't have any words to describe it because obviously not a group that I would have normally went out and Googled, but it sounds interesting to me.
Well, see, I have a long, long history in horses, but a lot of people don't know that. I bred thoroughbreds for the track for a really long time.
Hey, I went to the track for the first. Oh, wait, is it the same track? The one this, obviously not the same track, but I mean the same kind of track. This is how like ignorant I am when it comes to
Where did you
horses.
go? And I'll tell you.
Saratoga Springs.
Right. Saratoga Springs is primarily a thoroughbred track,
Okay.
and yes, that is the kind of racing that I used to have horses in.
Very cool. Those are beautiful animals.
Yeah, yeah, those are thoroughbreds, and that's the kind of horses that I still have. And and I'd like to breed them to a draft horse, but this year I brought them to a Blue Roan quarter horse, Foundation quarter horse, Hancock bloodlines, Valentine bloodlines, which will mean something to any quarter horse people who happen to hear this.
I'm sorry, I was gonna say, okay, I'm a little bit lost, but that's okay. I'm sure there's people watching this that understand what you just said. Because I just forgot what draft horse was. I know you told me, like, what was that, 10 minutes ago, and now I've forgotten.
A draft horse is a horse primarily bred to do heavy work, like drag logs, pull carriages. Like if you ever gone to a wedding and they have a carriage horse, that's a draft horse. Or if you ever go to like Chicago downtown, they have the carriages you can rent. Okay,
that's a draft horse. Okay.
Those are actually not draft horses. In Chicago, they were really weird-looking horses, and I finally found out what they are. They're half standard-bred racehorse and half draft horse, and they acquire them from Amish farms.
Oh, wow. All right.
If you're in Chicago, there used to be a guy downtown who stood there in a cape like Dracula, black cape, red on the inside, who played chess on a magnetic chessboard with the people waiting to ride in the carriage next. It was cool.
I have to seriously rewind this hangout to take all that back in. That's so interesting.
So, where is everyone?
I'm still stuck on images of horses. Okay, so Gail makes an excellent point, and that is that whatever you're into, in fact, that is what you said, Gail, whatever you're into, there's a group on Facebook, and likely there's images.
Right. Right. Whatever. Yes. There are so many groups, and this is kind of confusing. So what you want to do is you put what you're looking for in the search bar, and you choose. I think. Oh yeah. Let me think. So you put what you want in the search bar, but don't click on anything. You'll get like half a dozen results. You want to scroll down to the bottom of that where it says "See More Results" and click on that. And there are. You will not believe how many groups there are, and it's kind of hard to find them sometimes, but it's something that you ask somebody, though. If you're into horses, ask your horse friends what groups they're in. If you're into gardening, ask your gardening friends, and so yeah, images. If you're in a group, just so you know, groups and communities are the thing to do, right? So you've got a feed, almost nobody sees stuff, it goes flying by their timeline, they never see it. If you go into a group that's interested in what you're interested in and you share something, the odds of those people seeing it are much higher. So if I share something horse-related in a group that's got 21,000 people in it, and it's interesting and it's got a photo, they're likely to see it. If I throw it in my timeline, I don't know if anybody will see it, right? The same concept as Google+, using communities, or LinkedIn, belonging to a group.
Now, what about for Twitter? Would you say hashtags? Or lists.
Yeah,
see, I think.
Yeah, exactly. Our version of groups on Twitter is Twitter chats.
That's true. I think lists, but lists are really cool. I love lists. I have lists. I'll go look at my list for like a topic related or something where people are generally talking about the same thing. But it seems like lists didn't quite fill that need as much as the Twitter chats and using the hashtag. What do you think?
Yeah, that's different. So a list is good for organization. And the other thing that's really cool, I will give you my best Twitter tip. I don't think I told this on a Twitter chat, is that when someone adds you to a list, like I'm into social media, people know that, they add me to a social media list. That is a great way to find out who's in social media. So every time I get added to a list for marketing or social media, I will go and look at the list and I'll follow a bunch of those people. And so the reason that my Twitter account grows fast is that I am proactively seeking out lists of other people like me and following those people. Now, just following them isn't the optimum. The optimum is actually to interact with them. But it's a good way to find out who people are. Pay attention to those lists. Also pay attention to like those tweets that go out that say thank you for retweeting, or thanks you for being top influencer in my community. I'm probably saying that wrong, you know, commune.it. Those kind of, the people that get highlighted in those tweets are the kind of people you want to interact with because they retweet other people. They are influencers of some kind, right? Sometimes they'll be influencers like they got 50,000 followers, but sometimes they'll just be influential in that other people who are influential talk to them, or they retweet a lot, so they're considered influencers even if they don't have a zillion followers because of how they interact on Twitter.
That's a good point, because a lot of people think it's the number of followers, but it's not. It's actually the engagement or the influence. You said I used that for was it Social Buzz Club to find. Okay, now anyone watching that, it's like, all right, well now I get her game, but no, to find out who thanks me for tweeting. It's like, wow, I want to keep tweeting their stuff because they say thank you, and I like to engage with them. So I mean, same kind of thing is for watching those patterns and watching the retweets, watching the thank yous, watching the mentions. Good point.
Right, yeah, you want, no matter what you're doing in social, and most people fell into this automatically on Facebook because normally people are connected on Facebook with people they know in real life, physically and in the, you know, personal world. So they probably are connected to those. People like me, we don't know anybody in real life, so live in the middle of nowhere, and so everybody I know is online. So if you're going to be online only or you want to expand into an online world, focus on interacting with the people relevant to you, whatever you're interested in. And that's what the photos are good for, too. Although I will tell you that on Twitter lately, I have retweeted a lot of really cool landscape photographs, which is not relevant to social media or marketing.
But it's pretty.
They're pretty, yes, exactly. They're pretty. I like them. They're not likely to annoy anybody. They get a lot of retweets, and so kind of think of that too for Facebook. I don't see all those landscape photos on Facebook. If I did, I'd probably reshare them. So just remember, relevance is the key. Relevance in everything you do is what's important.
You know, it's funny you say landscape, and I keep thinking like the really wide photos.
Yeah, these are very colorful sunsets and sunrises and lakes and, you know, that kind of thing. If you look at my Twitter feed, you can see that I retweet quite a few landscapes.
Right. That's what my first thought was. They're too wide for Facebook, and that's where sometimes a perception, like even you know, different words in our vocabulary that's changed over time. But it's like landscape does not necessarily mean that it has to be wide. It means, like you said, sunset, something pretty, a mountain picture.
Or like the photograph behind you, that kind of thing is what I would read. And
yes, I like that.
Colorful, like even on Facebook, like colorful photos and cute animals, of course, adorable dogs, silly cats. You know, like there's one video that's making the rounds on Facebook, which has a lot of there's a lot of controversy over it. This rat is chasing this cat.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it was a pretty good-sized rat, and it was a house cat, so obviously not the kind of cat that knows what to do about rats. And so there's all this controversy, though, because people are like, I wish people would retweeting that or resharing that video. Those people, that poor cat, those people let a rat in their house and it bit their cat, and they should, you know, it's just,
oh
you know,
my, a lot of engagement.
Now, well, yeah, it gets a lot of engagement, but it may or may not be the positive kind you want, because the perspective, like in the country, that people have about cats is different than people with a city cat. Like the cats will blow your mind. Did you know that cats catch not only rats as big as they are almost, they also catch rabbits and snakes.
Okay, snakes, that one I would expect a dog, but a cat catching, is this a big cat or are these like any size?
Ordinary, okay, you can tell the difference between, okay, picture a big fat cat. If a cat is round and fat, it's a house cat. If a cat is long and skinny, kind of like a cougar-built cat, those suckers hunt. The cats here, where I am now, they catch mice, rats, and rabbits every single day. Thankfully, they haven't brought any snakes to the porch. When I first moved to Texas, when I found out cats hunt snakes, I had no idea until the cats that were descended from cats I brought from California because they were really good hunters. I moved to Texas. My best hunting cat and her litter of kittens were too young to wean when I moved to Texas. Those cats started hunting and bringing snakes, dead snakes, up by the porch. I didn't know cats hunted snakes. And then when I moved here, I found out they hunt rabbits. I didn't know cats hunted rabbits either.
I guess if they're hungry, they're going to hunt whatever they need.
Well, it depends on the cat. You know, there are hunting cats and there are pet cats. Just like there are working dogs and there are pet dogs, right? So a working cat is a really good hunter. The cat I moved from California to Texas, the reason I took her was that cat didn't eat anything she didn't kill. If she didn't catch it, she wouldn't eat it. She wouldn't eat canned food. She wouldn't eat dry food. She wouldn't eat people food. If she hunted every meal she ever ate, and the mama cat here that has 1-year-old kittens and baby kittens, she hunts every day and brings them up and feeds them, and then she takes them out to hunt, and then they're like their uncle cats take the kittens out to hunt.
Oh my goodness.
And see, a person that lives in the city who has a house cat that never goes outside would be terrified that a cat had a rat around. But, you know, a hunting cat, they catch them. They catch big rats. I mean, half again as big as they are.
And that makes sense why you'd have different kinds of engagement on Facebook over a simple picture. Which, I have a question for you, Gail. So, what would you recommend as far as that goal of engagement on Facebook with your image? Or maybe it depends on the audience. Would you recommend putting something up there that would encourage almost a controversial edge? Or does it depend on the person in the group?
Yeah, first we have to decide what do you care? Why do you care what kind of interaction
Why do you care?
What is the point of your Facebook page? And so if you're a business, you know, if you're an edgy radio person, a DJ, somebody like that, let's stir the pot, then you would want to post controversial stuff. If you're a brand that wants to convey a particular image, then you would want to stay away from the controversial stuff.
Good answer.
And people, this is what's unique about somebody like me, is that I have a very big, broad perspective. Most people think everyone else is just like them, and it amazes them when people go off the rails over something that's normal to them. I encourage people to realize that normal is what you were raised to believe, right? So, like, the people on those, like, what's that Springer show, whatever that show is? All right.
Jerry Springer?
Yeah, they could be.
What does that say? That's since I watch it.
Yeah, they could be actors paid to behave that way, but if they're not, those people are not embarrassed to go on national TV and act that way, so for them, that's normal. For someone like me, I look at that and go, oh. See, someone like me,
would I ever go behave that way?
We would not want to be caught on camera acting bad. I'll give you a better one. There's a show that's on TV now called The Profit, which isn't the profit we're thinking of. The profit, like making money in business profit. It's a really cool show. It's on Hulu. Check it out. It's this rich guy who comes in and saves small businesses from the egotistical owners who can't see what mistakes they're making, right? And because he has money, he comes in as a partner and just basically takes over and fixes it over their objections. It's a very interesting show, and so I watch this, and to me, I look at what I would be embarrassed to be those people doing what they're doing and making it into a TV show, but apparently they're not. To them, what they're doing is what they want to do. And I have seen several businesses that I helped make a lot of money who destroyed themselves, and I knew what was wrong, and I tried to get them to stop, and you can't save everybody. Some people are intent on destroying what they've built because it's not what they wanted. Like, they fell into success, but it wasn't the success they wanted. So then, like the dog with the bone over the water, they drop the success they have trying to get the success they wanted. Right?
Wow. See, I'm with you, Gail, because it's like, why would you want to destroy something? Why not, like, reinvent it? If you really don't like what it is, reinvent it into something, but don't destroy it.
Because, yeah, that's what she was trying to do. I'll give an example. I worked with a lady. I took her to $1.2 million in sales using paper.
Good for you.
Back when I used to do AdWords. And she won the America's Women's Entrepreneurs Contest. It was called Make Mine $1 Million Business. She was the first one to ever win the contest who actually made $1 million before she got what you get when you win the contest, which is supposed to help you make $1 million contest. But what happened was, the way that I did that is I realized what it was she was selling that was really popular, and I promoted the heck out of it, and that product made her a ton of money. When she won the contest, she hired an agency, which was the platinum sponsor at IRC, the Internet Retailers Conference, and they built her a site which was the dream site she wanted, which was selling other stuff, luxury stuff, not what it was she was making all the money with. And when they did that, they made it really hard to order the things she was making all the money with, right? And they made several really stupid mistakes, which no business who's being paid to create sites should ever make, like making it impossible to find out what the shipping costs were. And there was another, their sales, let me put it this way, when the new site launched, sales dropped 70% and stayed there. And I begged her to fix it. I begged them to fix it. I asked her, finally, please just put the other site back up. And the new site cost $10,000 a month overhead. The old site cost $1,200 a month overhead. It made $1.2 million. But the new site made no money, and she went under. She
Oh my goodness.
well, then she had to take a job, and I couldn't save her, and I knew what was wrong, because when you make a change, when you're successful and then you make a change that kills your sales, you know what caused the death, right? If you never were successful, you don't know what's wrong. But if you were successful and you make a change that hurts you, then you know what it was. But
It sounds like,
get her to stop.
what is it, Chuck Givens or Charles Givens?
Yeah.
Wealth Without Risk. And he said he's become a millionaire, like at the time of the writing of the book, which was a long time ago. But he become a millionaire 4 times, and he lost it all 3 times. And he was there to say, this is how you keep it. I thought, yeah, this is a guy that's like been there, not, you know, back and forth. He has some practice going up and down on that ladder.
Yeah, he had a great book back, and used to have seminars, I think, or had a book.
Mm-hmm.
The best thing he ever said that I still remember, and it's probably 20 years ago that I saw this, was buy insurance like you're going to die tomorrow, and invest like you're going to live forever.
Oh yes, I remember that quote. That's good.
Life insurance. Actually, I'm anti-insurance anyway. But that's a story for another time.
Yeah, I think he's the one that got me not buying insurance, because before that it was like you always heard that, oh, you have to have all this insurance, and after I read that book, it's like, well, maybe not.
Yeah, we had whole life insurance at the time, so that would have been 77, 78, 80, somewhere around there, and so yes. But if you think you have to have health insurance, then you have to have a job.
Mm-hmm.
Right? What keeps most people from claiming their freedom and doing their own thing is the fear of not having health insurance.
I think that's the key, is the fear.
Yeah, it's the fear that something might happen that you can't afford. But what's actually true is that even if you have insurance, if you have a major health thing, the insurance is probably not going to cover it, and it's going to make you broke anyway. And so, you know, I don't know. I haven't, you know, haven't dealt with insurance in a really long time. I
Wow.
object to the extortion of insurance.
We have covered from like cats, horses, snakes, all of the insurance, investment, getting rich. And I love the story about the lady. Well, I don't love the story in the sense that she lost everything, but really, really great case study, if you will, as far as illustration of what not to do. And I want to make sure we touch on some of the key tips, and you tweeted some of them on Social Cafe. So if anyone's watching this, you could search for like Facebook, GrowMap, and Social Cafe hashtag, and you'll find some of Gail's wonderful tips on Facebook images. But what were the numbers that we need for the image size, the optimal image size?
The optimum image size, and I'm trying to remember who this is according to, a post on socialmediaexaminer.com called Promote Your Content on Social Media Content Plan, something like that. That's what the URL is. The normal post image should be 403 by 504, and a highlighted post image should be 843 by 403.
And how would you define highlighted?
I think that they're saying that there's have you ever seen an image that's bigger on Facebook? Like it's double wide?
Yep.
Those are highlighted images. They're almost twice, they are more than twice as wide.
I was trying to think what era of Facebook. No, the way that Facebook changes.
But I don't know, because I'm not a Facebook expert, I don't know how you get them to show a highlighted post image. You
Unless
could,
you pin it.
yeah, you could test, try sharing a post, an image that size, and see if it gets highlighted because of the size that it is.
Good point. One of the
Right.
things that I like to do as far as blog posts is actually upload the image to Facebook and then a link to the article versus sharing the article because it really highlights that image. So
Yes.
I'm scheduling those. So definitely, if you have the time to do it, and if you're using tools, whether it's Hootsuite, Buffer, whatever tool you're using to actually schedule it, that's a great way to schedule a bunch of images ahead of time with all the links to the post and have it.
So what do you have that you can upload that you use that schedules uploading the image?
I actually use, what is it? It's a tool. It's a WordPress plugin, and I have so many tools that now I'm trying to remember which one. If it's called, I think it's called FB Auto Post.
Okay, we need to find that out, because if it can schedule, can it do Twitter too and schedule images to Twitter?
That particular tool I use only for Facebook. But you know
Yes,
what? I'll
really
include that in the summary.
what we really need is a tool that allows us to schedule uploading an image to LinkedIn and Pinterest and Twitter and Facebook.
All
So
in one, or do you want to know about this Facebook tool?
individually separate, but upload the right size for each one. The issue that we are having that we need to fix is that we do a lot of stuff, but we're not doing the right stuff. What we need to do is figure out how many shares where we need to do to meet our goals, and then create a way to just do, like, not do as much each place. Like, I do a lot on Twitter and I don't do enough on Facebook. What we need to do is make a schedule that says, okay, from now on I'm going to do this much on each platform, and I am going to make the time to upload the full image and then share, rather than just kind of spending a lot of time on Facebook and sharing a bunch of stuff. If your goal is business, what the people that are really famous on Facebook or G+ are doing is just sharing pretty pictures. That's all they share, because their goal is to get a big following, right? But then, of course, you got to figure out a way to convert that following, or it's just a big following. It doesn't really help. But that's what they do. I've seen them. I've looked over their shoulder. I've listened to what their strategies are, and they just share pretty pictures constantly to grow a bigger and bigger and bigger audience. And so if that's your goal is to get a huge audience, then just share stuff you think people will retweet and reshare, right, on every platform.
Right.
But that's not usually the goal of most people. It's not a goal I would have. If you have a small business, I would say do not have that goal. If you have a small business, your optimum goal is to interact with the audience that is likely to want to buy whatever it is you sell.
Exactly. You need to convert, otherwise you don't have income. It's
right, and I'll tell you, this is a big trick on Facebook that a lot of people don't realize. What you share can either go to your personal timeline or it could go to your business page. And like my business page on Facebook never had a lot of followers because I wasn't manually switching to share on that page. I share like horses, and I share personal stuff on my personal page, and I hadn't been sharing on my business page. And so if we're going to have business pages, we need to have a more calculated, strategic idea of what we're going to put on them versus what we do on Facebook because we're just socializing, unwinding, interacting with people that have our interests, which has nothing to do with our business.
And see, Gail, you're saying these things, and I'm thinking, well, doesn't everybody do that? Because it's so automatic to what I've been doing for years. But
yep,
good
not
point.
Automatic. If let's say that you're on Facebook, and then you decide you want to put a Facebook page up for your blog, but you've all along been just sharing to your Facebook. You're just sharing to your Facebook, not recognizing that you're not putting things on the page for your blog. Mm-hmm. They're separate. You have to find that little toggle and switch to the fan page.
And see, that's what I've always done. When I share something, I'm switching it between all of them so that I'm actually spanning all of the different presences and profiles.
Right, because you're a social media queen, you already knew this stuff. But a lot of people, They don't think about the fact that they're not sharing. All right, you have to think about, when I share this, where do I want to share it? Is it my hobby and I'm going to share it to my personal page, or is this relevant to my business and I want it to be the thing I'm sharing today? Like, I would think, there's no consensus on this, by the way. I saw this great video. It was on television. They had these two Facebook experts, and one of them said they share many times every day for every business, and the other one said never share more than once a week. And I went, once a week?
Once a week?
Where'd they find her? But she's a famous Facebook expert. So what my thought is that a good number to share would be once a day on your business page. Depending on what you're trying to do on your business page, maybe share once a day something really, really relevant, and maybe once a week something that's your site, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it depends. Like, if you publish a post every single day, it's probably going to your business page. If you're doing that, you might want to be sharing other people's stuff more so that it doesn't look like all you post is your own blog posts.
Exactly. There's like some people follow like an 80-20 type rules that shows that you're altruistic, you care about what's going on in the world. Some of it's news. Obviously, you don't want to go out and share your competitor, direct competition and what needs to be complimentary, but 20% of your own stuff on your page.
Yeah, see, that's the thing. You have to decide what is your strategy and what are you going to automate. If you're going to automate sharing every post as you publish it and you publish every day, then you need to share more stuff so it doesn't populate. But let's say you only publish once a week, then once a day maybe share the best thing you saw that day, and then once a week you share your own, and then it makes your timeline more well-rounded. Like they used to say when we went to college, you want to be a well-rounded person.
I have to pause to say that, well-rounded.
Yeah, I don't know. There's no one way. It's like Twitter. I will tell you my clout score is lower than some of my peers because I do Twitter as a peer model, and to get a high clout score, you have to use the famous model. You understand what I mean by that?
I do remember when you told me that if I played Facebook games, my clout score would go up.
Yeah, back then somebody told me that. I didn't get that from personal experience, but I did know people that were actually doing that. But on Twitter, if I follow everyone that follows me and I interact with everyone, my clout score will stay around 60-something. If I wanted to push it to 70-something or 80-something, I would have to change. I couldn't follow the unimportant people. The way that you make your clout score go up is the celebrity model. You're a celebrity, and you only follow and interact with mostly other celebrities, and you don't follow everyone because that isn't, then you're not a celebrity. So that's what I call the celebrity model of Twitter, and you can make your clout score go up. Now, if you use Twitter more like it's Skype, like you only use it to interact with a small set of your peers, all of whom are famous, hopefully, then your clout score will be very high. But if you use Twitter to interact with the public and help people who are beginners and everyone, then your clout score will be lower, and you just have to decide what's important to you.
So it's more important to interact with people. There's no person that's like lower than another person as far as I'm concerned. I don't care about the clout score. I'd rather just treat people fairly and equally and help whoever needs help.
Right, and so that's really the difference. That's why you see these people with really high clout scores. They're either really busy working and they don't interact very often, and when they do, like if you interact with people with really high clout scores, you get a high clout score. If you interact with people with really low clout scores, I don't know if that affects it or not.
And if I live my life according to my clout score, then at the end of the day, all I have is my clout score.
Right, yeah, see, I don't get that into it. Cred is actually a better number because they have two numbers, your engagement number and have you ever looked at Cred?
I have. It's been a while, but yes, I have.
Cred has a much better model, I think. Clout's very volatile. If somebody famous talks to me, my clout score jumps, and when they stop talking to me, it drops. And so I was more influential last hour, and today I'm less influential.
That's not funny, but the way you said that was great. Yes.
Yeah, it's not really true, but that's how the numbers are. Yeah, and it really doesn't matter so much how much influence you have, it's how much influence you have in what. right? So, like, I may have 50-some thousand followers, however many it is right now, in social media and marketing and small business. But if you want me to promote some celebrity cause, I don't have anybody that cares. So I have zero influence in that. That's the other thing I like about Cred is they have like categories. They actually show how much influence you have in different verticals, different niches.
Mm.
And so you can go look and see is somebody influential at social media, or maybe they're influential in parenting. So if you have a product you want to sell to parents, you need people influential in parenting more than you need people that are just influential in general, right?
Wow.
Like Dad Chat, if you had a product you wanted to sell to parents, you should sponsor Dad Chat because he has that audience of people that he has a real audience, just like we have real people that we know that come to Social Cafe and come to other Twitter chats we're in. He has a huge mom and dad. It's called Dad Chat, but it actually is not just dads. It's a very smart marketing move on his part. I don't know if it was conscious at the beginning or not, that everybody is a mom chat, but how many people focus on the dads? And
That's
so,
brilliant.
yeah, he focuses on the dads. A lot of the women come too. And he has the perfect audience. So if I wanted to sell a product to parents, I would sponsor Dad Chat and do a blog outreach around Dad Chat, and that is how I would launch the product or increase sales for a product. And
Oh
so
my
that's
goodness.
know
You
your
have
audience.
me thinking so many different things right now that it's like, wait, we got to talk about this offline. This. You always do that to me, Gail. You start talking, and it's like all the ideas that come out from your mouth, and then it's like all these different things that you inspire. I think you have that effect on everybody.
Well, the big trick though is to prioritize.
Yes.
That's the big
Prioritize. What?
Yeah, that's what I focus on all the time is for a particular situation, for that goal, what are your priorities? You have to decide and then start at the top, and you have to kind of shut out all the, what they used to call shiny object syndrome,
Mm-hmm.
right? It's like if you want to learn something, you cannot read everything there is to know about that. You'll end up getting the same email from 6 different people. You pick one mentor, maybe 2 at the most, but if you're a beginner, only pick one. Find out who that one person is. Like if you want to become a great writer, pick John Morrow or Carol Tice's Writer's Den. Just pick one of those, not both. Pick one, and do what they
That's
say.
too hard. Pick
Wait,
one.
that's the thing. That's the thing. If you try to pick too many, then you're constantly in learning mode and you're never in implementation mode. You have to pick one. In anything you want to know, find out who the best and brightest are, read a bunch of their stuff, see which one of them you really click with best, pick one, and focus on doing what they're doing. But pick wisely. Don't pick the get-rich-quick people, because they'll tell you what you want to hear, but they're all lying. So don't pick the get-rich-quick people. Pick the people that tell you it's not easy, this is what you have to do, it takes years. If someone tells you, you can be rich tomorrow, run.
Good advice. And if you want to be one of the people that's picked, consistency. Hone your skill and keep growing, but don't get bogged down like Gail says as far as spending too much time learning, because you know your craft. Get out there, implement it, and teach others. Just like Gail does.
Yeah, well, honestly, don't do what Gail does. Gail is too big of a generalist. I am a big picture strategist, and I don't recommend that for people. In fact, I don't recommend it for me, but someone has to do it. What I do recommend is specialize. Become the most, look at it today. Go on Twitter and look at how many people, or go on LinkedIn, look at how many people think they're a social media marketing person.
Oh, good grief.
Don't hear of any of them. They're all generic commodities. They're all the same because you can't differentiate. You don't know. But become a Facebook expert, right? You can name who the Facebook experts are. You can't name the social media people. There's a zillions of them.
Mm-hmm.
But the Facebook experts, the LinkedIn experts, like I can give you lists. Like there's 3 or 4 really top LinkedIn experts. There's 3 or 4 really top Facebook experts. There's top eBay experts. Pick something. Become brilliant. Become the most exceptional person. You don't have to be the only one, by the way. There could be half a dozen exceptional people. It doesn't matter because you're all going to be a little bit different. You're going to attract a little different audience. But if you will focus, become an expert at something, podcasting, video marketing, something very specific.
Hangouts.
Hangouts. Yes, become the hangout queen. You need to pick something. You don't want to do, like, one of the reasons, like, people think I'm famous and I'm rich. Well, neither one of those is very true. I'm kind of famous.
I think you're famous.
It's useful
Okay.
for some things to be somewhat famous. But what you have to understand is that you can become really, really well known and get a lot of referrals if you are really brilliant at something. But if you're just a social media, quote, expert, unquote, and nobody knows what that even means, and nobody's going to recommend you, it's really hard to make a living. It's really easy to make a living if you're brilliant at something, right? Like almost everyone who doesn't do eBay knows who Marsha Collier is,
Mm-hmm.
right? She
Yep.
was the eBay expert. She's actually a Facebook expert too, but she was known as the eBay expert for forever because she did the eBay book for dummies. But she focused. She focused on eBay, then she focused on Facebook, right? Look at another example, Gary Vaynerchuk, right? He was the wine expert, then he was the agency expert, and now he just launched a new YouTube channel, like a Ask Me Anything type thing. All right, so pick something specific, become brilliant. Pick a topic you love, read everything you can find, watch all the videos, find out who knows what, then really figure it out, then go interact with those people and ask them questions and become that expert. And you can be like, let's say there are already famous Facebook people. Become the Facebook e-commerce person.
Ooh.
Or the Facebook expert for Chicago, right? Geo-target, niche target, you know, if it's
Like
you,
Dad Chat.
yeah, if you're, yeah, like Dad Chat, right? So if it's social media, it's really broad. Narrow it. Become a social media for Chicago expert, right? Become a PR expert for Chicago. Become the how do you get free publicity person for Chicago. Find some kind of specialization. Don't, like I said, don't do what I do. Now, I do what I do because someone has to do it, but it's not the optimum for making money. It's not the optimum for getting traction and getting referrals. I get a lot now because I've been doing this a really long time, but when you want more business, if you specialize, you'll get referrals. Become the social media person for an industry, for food, for, you know,
For the
liquor.
financial industry, now that one's a tricky one because you can't just assume you can do anything with all the SEC regulations.
Right, yeah, so finances. It's just like if you're a lawyer, don't just be a lawyer, lawyers are types of lawyers, right? Financial, internet attorneys,
Yep.
divorce attorneys. There's a reason for that. There's too many attorneys. You can't just be an attorney in general. You specialize in something. And so social media is like that. If you want to see how broad social media is, go to eventbrite.com, type in social media and your city, and the number of events will blow your mind. It is
Wow.
astronomical. How
They
many
do that.
social media related things you'll see in an event thing like Eventbrite. And remember that Eventbrite.com is not the only place you can put an event. There's also, you know, what is it?
The
Meetups.
meetups, thank you.
And there's other Eventbrite type sites. All right, social media is huge. You need to narrow it down. You want to do Facebook or a particular platform, or you want to be the social media person for a particular industry. You know, pick one. Like if you're really into cars, do automotive. If you're really into food, do food.
I'm picturing cars on Facebook images.
Yeah, I mean, think of food blows my mind. One guy actually listened to me when I used to harp about geo-targeting your blogs all the time, as I still do.
Mm-hmm.
One guy took off with that idea. Within like a few weeks, he had 44 food blogs in Washington, D.C.
Wait,
I didn't even know
44
there were
different.
44 restaurants in Washington, D.C. He had 44 food blogs, and not too long after that, like a month or two, he had 162 food blogs working together. They didn't even get their website built before they were pitched by a corporation wanting them to do a launch for Washington, D.C.
Oh, wow.
That is the kind of success you can have if you target, and I'm going to talk about local one more time just at the end here. Local. Small businesses are are starving, there's no place for them to advertise, right? Anything international won't help them. Anything national doesn't help. Even statewide doesn't help. If you only have one restaurant or one car dealership or one store in X town, you only care about the audience in that town. So if you want to make money, geo-target your efforts. Become the best blog. You don't have to eliminate your international traffic. You're still going to get it, but write about where you are and build an audience where you are, because if you can deliver 50,000 visitors a month to your blog, but they're all over the world, that's kind of like a so what. The corporations have every blog in the world to choose from, so why choose you? And the local businesses, it won't do them any good. But if you could deliver 50,000 visitors all in your town, or 40,000 of them in your town, or even half of them in your town, now small businesses will want to work with you because you can deliver their customers. And where else are they going to get them? Newspapers are dying. Radio isn't that effective. Billboards aren't all that effective either. But if you have a very influential blog, you write all about food in your town, right? Restaurants in your town will want to pay to be on your blog.
See, Gail, your niche, you know, you talk about your niche. You
Yeah.
are so known. GrowMap. I mean, I see GrowMap, I think localization, and you have brilliant ideas. I told you, I've said this before, I implemented them, and I've got like a Twitter handle that's on autopilot, all thanks to your advice.
Yeah, I actually have several Twitter handles in geo-targeted areas. And the way to automate that, by the way, is you need to feed something local so that your account always stays active. You know that. When we go to a Twitter tool, it says these are inactive accounts and you unfollow them. If you don't want to be unfollowed and you don't have time to manage all your accounts, you want to put some geo-targeted accounts on autopilot, find some really great like local news sites, or if you're into sports, like a local sports channel or whatever, and feed their content into your Twitter feed so that it never is inactive and never shows up on the this is a dormant account list.
And it works like an automated aggregator. Like, I like to go look at my own Twitter account. It sounds funny, but I go look at my own feed, say, wow, I didn't know that was happening. That's happening. Look at this. It's like it pulls in all the different feeds so I can get a big picture of what's going on in Los Angeles.
No, I do the same thing. The main way that I keep on top of what my collaborators have published is that I feed all their blogs into my Twitter feed. And so then I go look at what I tweeted, and then I go, oh, Eileen published a new post. Oh, Social Web Cafe's got something coming up. I actually go look in my Twitter feed, my Twitter stream, to see what I've tweeted about other people because it's all on autopilot.
Yep.
And so otherwise, I don't have time to get around to everybody's blog and see what they're doing. You know. Plus, the way I really notice, though, is I'm feeding their content. If somebody retweets one of those things, then it pops into my feed. Then I go look at it, and then I retweet it again. So then they get double. You know, and if something they do takes off and a bunch of people retweet it, I'll retweet all the retweets. That's another good reason for viral content buzz or just retweet. Is that, you know, if we see it more than once, we can retweet it more than once.
Exactly. And with that, guys, keep those images coming, whether it's Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Oh my goodness, I was like, what did we talk about last week? Pinterest, of course. Was it?
Yes,
I was at the KISS concert. Okay. Keep those images coming.
Images on Pinterest, yeah. Images, people don't realize the odds of me retweeting you if you put an image in your tweet are 100 times higher, and I don't think I'm exaggerating. It may be higher than that because there's so few images on Twitter right now. Facebook, if you tweet really cool stuff, like look at some of the images going by in your Facebook stream and notice how many times they've been shared, and that'll tell you right there. I see sometimes like the rat chasing the cat video had like 600 and some views on it or something on Facebook, just shares on Facebook. Who knows how many views it's got on YouTube? I didn't look. But that should tell you. That's the other thing you can do is like now Twitter has that new thing. What do they call it? You think I'd remember? Discover on Twitter. Go to Discover and retweet the pictures that appeal to you. Same thing on Facebook. It's really easy to tell if an image that goes by in your stream has a ton of shares on it. If you share it, it's going to get shared. Right? So there's a tip. If you just want to get If you just want to entertain your followers on Twitter, on Facebook or Twitter, just look for the stuff that gets shared a lot and share it.
It's the opposite of as far as being original. You don't have to be original. You can actually borrow content. That's the beauty of the whole viral model.
For corporations, there's actually a company that does that called Infinigraph, which we couldn't afford to do, but Infinigraph exactly does that. You tell it what your vertical is and who you want to watch, and it tells you what they shared that's most popular. Like you could put 20 brands in there, and it'll show you what they're sharing that's really popular and what flopped, and that'll give you ideas for what you should share. And you can share, and that they actually make like 2 lists, one of your competitors, so you don't want to share their stuff, but you do want to keep an eye on it, and one for related businesses, like maybe you sell diapers as a good example, and you want other brands that sell toddler stuff, right? Anything toddler and infant related, you put into this stream, and it surfaces what's in that stream shared by those big brands that's getting the most traction. So you can reshare it because they're not your competitors. Like if you're a diaper seller, you don't want to do other diaper companies, but you want to do bottles and onesies and whatever, other children's products. And so Infinigraph, like I said, very pricey way for the brands to do that, but we can do that ourselves. Look at what's popular. Something else that really sharp people do, if they see something going viral on one platform, they'll immediately go share it everywhere else. So you got that? So you see something on Pinterest that's really popular, you can go and put that in Facebook. Or if you see something great on G+, you can go put it on Facebook.
And if it's one of the first, you might want to share it across so that you actually get that exposure right away. But
yeah, so there's people that actually do that. They watch to see what gets hot somewhere. Like maybe I'll see something on ThreadWatch that's hot or something on Growth Hackers that's hot, and then I can go and share that elsewhere, right?
Yep. And if it's already really popular, you can also opt to schedule it out. So you kind of like a
that's the other thing. And so there's a lot of stuff we can do. It's all there's a lot of strategies we can use. Most people have no strategy. They just wander around and share what looks good, which is not bad. I mean, if you do that, you will get more followers and more interaction. That's why I'm bigger on Twitter than I am on Facebook. I love Twitter. I'm always on it. I'm not on Facebook. I'm not as big. You have to go out of your way to get big somewhere. But if we had a more surgical strategy, we could do a lot better on all the platforms instead of just being huge on one and neglect the others. That's especially important if you want to be a social media manager for multiple companies. You have to get a system of doing enough for each one instead of too much for one and nothing for the others every day.
Exactly. Well, Gail, thank you so much for joining us for the Social Cafe.
Okay. Have fun editing.
Thank you. I just need those 48-hour days,
Yeah, I know. That's the trick.
Or focus, 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 focus.
Yeah.
And we'll be watching for those images, guys, so get them out there on Facebook. Get them out there wherever you're at. I had to say Facebook.
Yeah,
this is a Facebook one.
Send us the link if you put this video up somewhere.
Will do. Will do. Thanks, Gail. Thanks all.
Bye-bye.